Hello everyone. Hi Kirti. Kirti, you will have to unmute. Okay, I have unmuted you. Hello everyone.
Okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Hi Kirti.
Hi, everybody who's logged on.
You will have to unmute. Okay, I have unmuted you. All right, so my name is Shubhendu. We are back with our guest today, Kirti Anand from Hyderabad, Secunderabad. We have been working with Kirti and on the land that she procured a few years ago for last 5 years now. We have 6 years. Great. So listen, in last 6 years, we have done a project where the initial dream was to create a place where you can bring people from the city and they can get to see what the natural environment of their place is. They can get to interact with their trees, the animals, and kind of get an exposure to the kind of forest-like environment which cities are so deprived of. So I'll give you a little bit background of Kirti before I would ask her to introduce herself. I met Kirti 6 years ago in Bombay, where she used to live at that time. Kirti and her husband Anand, both of them, they have lived in different cities in India, outside India. They have been mostly city dwellers for a good few decades of their past life. However, now they live in a forest, both of them, in a nicely constructed house with all natural elements, natural materials. She's going to talk about them a little bit as well. 6 years ago, when I met Kirti, the idea was she was exploring what can be done outside or close to a city, in the outskirts of a city. And they had few ideas about procuring some land just outside Mumbai or just outside Hyderabad, which is her hometown as well. So eventually they ended up buying this land close to Hyderabad, and I was lucky enough to be involved in the project right from the procurement stage. Hyderabad being Hyderabad or Secunderabad, actually. Okay, so I got to know people can't hear.
You can't hear.
Let's check. Gaurav, can you check on and I was okay. So I just checked on Facebook. We can hear it really well. So just in case you can't hear, please write it in the comments. Anyway, so coming back to the introduction of what Kirti and her work has been so far. So Kirti procured this land close to Secunderabad, and before that they had been in hoteling industry last 3 years. So it had a lot of exposure of experience in the hospitality space, and using that they conceptualized a project which is now known as the Arbor Road Estate. Now, Arbor Road Estate, by the name itself, you can imagine it's a place which is full of trees and greenery, and there was a vision which they had about the place 5 years ago, and it was quite a strong vision, and everybody is extremely surprised looking at how they converted a barren patch of land into a lush green forest, an orchard, some space where they farm their vegetables, some space which is totally meant for animals, for small children, and it's a place where number of people come, hundreds of people with their children have visited the Arbor Road Estate project, and it's a very welcoming place and a go-to place for anybody in Hyderabad or Secunderabad or places around. So Kirti, we would like to hear from you. what made you start the Arbor Road Estate project?
Thanks, Shubhendu. Hi, everybody. Some of you who logged in must be knowing me. I'm a city dweller, always been in Bombay and lived in various parts of the country and outside the country as well. We wanted to get away from the city and find a space which was quiet and serene. And we were looking for like a couple of acres of land, which was quite unaffordable on the outskirts of Bombay. So we started looking down south and we found a space which is outside of Secunderabad, 50 kilometers. Secunderabad has been my hometown for my family, has been here for over 80 to 100 years. So it was opportune. Unfortunately, as land deals go, we kept looking for a while. And in fact, interestingly, we had bought a plot of land and put down some money as well, and then found out that it was going to get into the dam project. You might have heard that recently the Kaleshwaram Dam project, which has been inaugurated by the Chief Minister of Telangana, is the largest lift irrigation project in the world. So this plot of land that we acquired was going to fall into the territory where the villages were going to get submerged. The brokers, of course, were not willing to admit to that, but we'd heard from people. So somehow we managed to get hold of, concrete information that those particular survey numbers were going to get, in fact, submerged. The brokers came back and said, "Madam, there's no problem if you do that, because if it gets submerged, you'll get compensated." But I was not about to plant a forest and have animals and pets and then get it submerged and get compensation from the government. So we let that land go. And somewhere it was written that we were going to be in this barren, rocky place. So we acquired it. We acquired it at a reasonable price, not extremely affordable, but it was a larger plot. But I think because it was barren and it was rocky, it was charming to us because it really was Deccan Plateau and how I remember my childhood of, those big boulders and big rocks and all of that. Maybe we got a good price because it wasn't fertile land, but also we landed up paying much more in quantum because it was not 3 acres, but it landed up being 11 acres.
Okay.
So we bought 11 acres, whereas our requirement was only 3 or 4 acres.
Okay. Tell me
that's when, sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to know, the land which you had to let go, was it comparatively more fertile and green?
Yes, absolutely. It was fertile farming land.
Okay.
And it was very close to where the project, it is within the area which the villages have now been submerged.
Okay.
So it was farming land. And we had actually no intention of farming per se. We had talked about having a farmhouse or doing some organic farming. We were talking to friends and family who had done organic farming. And you know that it's very difficult to actually do organic farming when your neighboring, fields are not doing organic farming.
Yeah.
So the idea was to buy a place and maybe have a weekend getaway or something like that. But this was 6 years ago. Then I think we just fell in love with the land. And once we had managed to meet up with Shubhendu and started Afforest, there was no looking back. And I think the project took on a life of its own. Our ideas kept evolving. The general idea was there that it is a weekend getaway for city dwellers. Okay. And I've always wanted to have a petting farm, which is where kids can come in and interact with farm and domesticated animals like cow, goat, sheep, turtles, fish, hens, and turkey. So that was the idea. But starting with a barren piece of land, the most important thing first was to green it. We had failed in our water mission. We dug up to 1,000, 1,300 feet and didn't get any water because it was completely dried out, this entire plot. So nevertheless, we decided to get in a greening effort. We read about you, Shubhendu, tried very hard to contact you. You were difficult to contact. I remember I had to ask a friend on LinkedIn who had, this professional program or whatever, where he could reach out and then he connected us. Since then, of course, we've come a long way. I think now our water table has risen, A, because of the greenery, B, because of the Kaleshwaram project. It will come in also. We have lots of water and everything is green. Even in the driest part of the year right now, I'm looking out at green. It's lush green.
Amazing. So in this particular project, now that you told that, you started thinking of 3 acres and now it has become 11 acres. So how difficult was it to replan everything and rebudget everything, refinance everything? And did it change your vision or did it expanded your initial vision?
It expanded. It expanded the vision. Like I said, the project took a life of its own. We went into green construction. We started building green buildings. The petting farm still is very much going to happen. Water conservation became much bigger because it was a larger plot of land. The forest was a good thing. I think we would have still managed this 1 acre forest which we built with you, created with you, whether it was a 3 acre or 11 acre. But because the expanse is so much more, apart from your forest, we have also planted several other green zones, which are, if you remember, you didn't allow me to plant a coconut tree, for example. You said that's not native.
To that.
So I have coconut trees, but in other parts of the land. Similarly, I have fruit orchards, which have fruits from other parts of the country. We have avenue trees. We have boundary planting. We have little green patches, which we're giving them names. Like one day we did a environment garden, then we did an Earth Day garden, and we've done a little bit of a food forest. So we are developing green zones all over.
So one last question before we jump into your presentation. How many people you have every weekend? Like, what's the number of visitors like before we went into lockdown?
Before COVID, before the lockdown. So actually, we have not commissioned a project officially. We've only had friends and family and some trial groups coming in. So we've had about 3 groups of schools. The groups range from 20 teachers to 120 students. We had a couple of college groups coming in, which was very interesting. We never thought that architectural students might want to come in because we're doing green buildings. So our architect told us that can we have, when we host 60 students from his architectural class. And they were very interested in knowing about our mud block construction and the green buildings that we're building. So we haven't commissioned our accommodation yet. And we haven't yet also got the animals. But we've only been tending to the landscape and the green elements. As you said, we were not here earlier. We moved from Colombo to India and to Secunderabad, and we live now at Arbor Road Estate since the last 15, 16 months. So we've just been trying to complete the construction, and we were nearing completion when the lockdown has happened. So we are going to have to give it a little twist and see what else, what is the target segment that we can manage within the lockdown for the next year or so. And then we will commission our cottages and swimming pool and, entertainment zones and stuff.
Yeah, I believe many people who are watching it from Hyderabad or planning to visit, maybe we will announce a date whenever you open it for.
When we open, yes, of course, definitely.
All right, so let's get into the story of Arbor Road Estate project. Maybe you can start the
Yes, I will. I'd love to. It was wonderful that you told me to do this today, Shubhendu, because I must tell you that I have like 50,000 photographs, and cataloging it the whole day has actually drained me out and I've relived the experience. It's been really fun. And I'd love all of you to see what we've done from day one. So I'll start sharing my presentation now.
Thanks a lot for doing it for us. Because we have some photographs of your project, initial photographs, but it's very exciting for us to see as well, because we don't get chances to come back and see the grown trees.
You'll notice actually 1 or 2 of those lovely bugs and bees are taken by Navendu.
Yeah,
I didn't have time to give photo credits, but they're wonderful shots. You know how to take the floor of the forest, and I need to learn those angles from you.
We'll announce. Gaurav is here with us as well.
Okay.
Came with Navendu to take those pictures.
Gaurav. I can't see Gaurav.
You won't be able to. He's in the back.
Okay.
All right.
So this is where we bought the land. I think how I can put this off.
Yeah.
So you see something in February, which was
Yes, we can see.
Are you seeing the full screen? I'm not used to this.
I am seeing full screen.
Or is the face in the way?
No. It's all good.
Okay.
Your face is in the top right corner, and we are seeing the full screen.
But then are you able to read what I've written on the right side?
Yes, we are able to.
Wonderful. So this is when we reached out to Shubhendu, April of 2015, managed to connect with him. We were not also on, I don't think we had WhatsApp that time. So it was SMS or emailing or trying to log in through LinkedIn accounts. I'm going to share a small 1-minute video.
Okay. Wow. This is amazing. Wow.
That's just a gist of how we started from a barren land. For the newcomers and the ones who want to start creating their own forest, I've just listed out a little bit of the process, which otherwise you would have seen on Afforest website in any case. So we started with the planting list, and like I told you, I wanted coconut trees, and Shubhendu said, no, you can't do that. And then he said he had teak on his list, I remember, and I said, let's not do teak, because somewhere down the line, 10 or 20 years later, I don't want the neighbors or vandalism to get the teak out of our land. I'd rather not have teak. But we still have a couple of teak trees, but not as many as Shubhendu would have liked. So then he had to manage his mix better and give us a substitute for teak. Is that right, Shubhendu?
This is, yeah.
So we ordered the saplings, seedlings from a place in Rajamundry, which is one of the richest in the water resources in Telangana. And you get some amazing plants and seedlings from there. Then we had to procure materials, which was in quantities which we had never heard of. When he said 15 tons, I couldn't quite figure out whether ton meant 1,000 or ton meant 100.
The biggest truck that was
biggest truck
Yeah.
of paddy husk. And it was so fun to have these mounds of husk to play on. And we have these little dogs which we had adopted. They would just go crazy on this husk piles. So we got paddy husk, we got cocoa peat, we got mulch straw. This was interesting. And I asked Shubhendu, why can't we just get straw from the next door farmer? He feeds his buffaloes all the time. So he said, look, if you get it from him, it's going to be loose and it's going to fly all over the place. And it's such a large volume. The only way that you can control it is when you get it in these tightly packed bales. So we got these bales and they were like 5 feet, 10 feet stacked up tall. And we all had a picnic on those ones as well before we actually used them in the forest. Then we got manure, which was again had to be approved by Sunny at a certain pH level. It got wet, I remember, and then he said, no, it has to dry. So, there were delays for our planting because the manure hadn't dried up. It couldn't be brought in. After it arrived on our site, also, we had to keep it covered with tarpaulin so that it doesn't get wet and lose nutrients. We had to arrange men and machines. And again, the time that we started our forest, which is 2015, is when the Kaleshwaram project started next door. And every JCB, every tractor in the city and the state was deployed for this massive project. So it was so difficult to just get one JCB and one tractor to work for us. So it sort of stretched our implementation, but it went well at the end of it. That was what the land was when it was leveled by the JCB. We were digging trenches. We didn't have any clue what was going to happen. There was a magician called Shubhendu and he was telling us, just dig. I said, 3 foot dig karke kya karenge? And then we went on with it. We hit rock. See the amount of rock we hit. So sometimes we could take out this rock, but we had decided on never blasting the rock. So we sort of planted the forest around the rock. Some trees haven't got their roots so well because of the rocks, but the rest have taken up well. If I remember right, the monsoon was delayed, Shubhendu. And
Yeah.
we had a mess up with it as well. So while we were removing rocks on one side, the trenches got soaked with water, so we had to wait for it to dry up before we filled it with the biomass. The biomass was all those materials that we bought, which was mixed again by the JCB because it was large quantities. And then this truckload of seedlings arrived. The green, it was so beautiful, and you cannot imagine how big the truck was, because the weight of that order I just pulled out, from my old files, to 17,000 kilos. So this truck was like humongous. 17-ton truck came in with the plants.
Is the entire forest in a truck?
In a truck. It was amazing. And we've now spread it over nearly an acre. So that's amazing. That's you, Shubhendu. I don't know if you remember.
I remember the clothes.
You did this and then you told us how to plant it, which is also a very interesting.
So this guy who is working with me, I have a picture of him. He's half drenched in that quicksand which was made, when the trenches got filled with water, and we tried to fill them up with soil, and he just stepped in and he kind of drowned.
Yeah, I know. I think I have a picture of him.
Yeah, I wanted to save him, but before that, I just took a picture because I knew how deep it was.
So for all those who are planning on planting forests, you need to remember to have blades handy as well to cut the plastic.
Yeah.
That's the guy.
Seeped
in water.
Yeah. He almost fell.
I know. Then we have the process of mulching, which is actually using that straw from those bales to allow to cover the soil so that it remains cool and no weeds grow there. This was another interesting one we had. We had to bring bamboo and support each and every individual plant. And we tied the bamboo with ropes. And then we realized that the rats came in and gnawed the rope. So the bamboo came off. So after planting 6,000 trees, it was quite a task to just keep checking every day that the bamboo was there and the rope was not chewed off by the rats.
That's very interesting. I didn't know why the rats were chewing just the rope when they had so much straw to munch on.
God knows why. To trouble us?
Maybe, yeah.
We didn't get water. So like I said before, we had dug 5 bore wells and we hadn't got very much groundwater. So our entire forest has been watered and nurtured by buying tanker water every single day for 3 years.
Yeah, and this is something which we really want to solve, because this is the kind of problem. We cannot plant really large forests if they're dependent on the bought water. So we are working on changing our formulas and trying to find out ways how we can best utilize the water. And Maruan is one such project in Rajasthan where we are watering our forests extremely less. We have been digging wells. We have bought little bit of water, but now our entire focus is on storing 1 or 2 years worth of water in a big pond and use that pond to water the forest. So, I mean, if we would redo Arbor Road Estate like project in 2020 now, maybe we will start with the water body first and then bring in the forest.
So now we have, if you want to plant your third forest, we have enough water.
Yes.
We've stored water.
And it's a beautiful water body that you have.
So then there was an interesting homework assignment given by the Afforest team. We had to go and measure the girth and the height of the trees every month And I think you can see we went from October to December, we skipped November. So we did those kind of things and we kept making this chart every month. Our trees were just 1 and 2 feet tall, and today they are over 40 feet tall.
Yeah. And if you see like this tree, Kaner, the first one, in from October, in 3 months, it has grown 2 feet. And if you see, there are few trees which would not have grown, like this coral jasmine harsingar.
Right.
Now, one of the assumptions which people take is that every single tree will grow extremely fast if you plant it with Miyawaki method, but that's not the case. It totally depends on the species, and making a forest grow fast is not our goal. Our goal is to bring back the same forest which would have existed a few thousand years ago. It grows fast, that's additional benefit of planting native trees, but however, these growth rates are at least 10 times much more faster than compared to any other
Regular planting. And it's so important to have a healthy forest. So the mix is that some of them won't grow and they'll be your understory, and the others will be your shade bearing and canopy, right?
And you see such beautiful trees you have. If you can go back to the species, I just want to emphasize a little.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I didn't put the whole chart because I think we did 45 species. These are just 10
No,
of them.
but I'll talk about few species which are kind of forgotten. One is stone apple, which is it's called kabit. It's a very nice native tree. Looks like a cricket ball. It's also called cricket ball tree or whatever, and it's sour. It's a great native tree. Then you have Sita Ashok, the other one, Saraka indica. Now these are the trees which are nowhere to be seen. If you go to buy an Ashok tree, they will give you that the one which grows like a rocket.
Right.
That's not the kind of Ashok which we want to plant. So these are the native trees which are rare, but now that you are growing them, people can go to Arbor Road Estate and see these trees in person and identify them.
When was the stone apple fruit, Shubhendu? Because I don't remember or haven't seen a cricket ball kind of fruit yet.
Yeah, maybe 10 years from now you will be. It grows very slowly, and I'll tell you, in Bengal they make very nice chutney of this kabit.
Stone apple. Okay.
Stone apple. Yeah, it's not bale. Bale is different. Bale
No,
is
bear. I've got it written as Reni Pandu.
bear. Yeah, no, it's not bear.
But again, this is something that's an ongoing. I need to make sure that I have all the names correctly.
In central India, it's called kabit, and people from central India would have seen it. I'll show you some pictures. Also, I have the book. Maybe you can.
Okay. Yeah, sure. That'll be great. Maybe I can run this list by you again.
Sure. Let's move to the next slide.
So then we got excited and we planted a second forest. In 2016, a year later, again on World Environment Day, we decided to get another fresh lot of seedlings. This time a smaller quantity, like 1/4 of the earlier lot. And we did a second forest. We were running short of water, and the water bill was beginning to become a strain. But then we had so many friends who were so appreciative of everything that we did, and they said, how can we really help and contribute? They actually started adopting our trees by contributing towards the water cost. So we did a very interesting program, which was for school children. Actually, it was meant, but the parents participated. We called it Be a Tree Parent. Wow. And we had about 7 or 8 of them who sort of adopted a grove each, a few hundred trees at a time. Wow. And they said, we will, underwrite the cost of the water for these trees for a couple of years.
That's amazing.
You might wonder that how did this happen? And this dream has really happened because we had a fantastic team led by my sister Aarti, who have managed the place in our absence for the 4 years that we were not here, and they've always been there. So these boys who were really young, I think today they are about 22 years old. They must have been 16, 17 years old when they started off with us. Wow. And they still remain. They are our now permanent staff. They're like a family. We just leave that's our home in the background. You haven't come, Shubhendu, to visit us.
I have. Well, you
Promised to
weren't there.
you promised to come and stay with us, which you haven't.
I will definitely. The house was under construction when
I
I
know.
visited.
I know. It was just completed a year and a half ago when we moved in. So now it's ready for occupation. So please come with your family.
Definitely. And big shout out for Himanshu, the
Yes,
left.
absolutely. I've got another wonderful stuff coming up from Himanshu on my slide presentation, which I'll
Amazing.
show you. So we had an interesting thought that none of the trees are going to be strong enough for a tree house. So why not build a metal machan? And we said, let's put it in a place where the trees will hopefully grow as tall and then you will feel like you're among the trees on a machan. That's in 2015. The tower was built at 35 feet. And that's a year ago. You can't see the tower.
Wow.
So if you see where the arrow points, that's the peak of the machan, but the trees are actually taller than it. And when you walk up there, some people have suggested that we should have a bedroom in that place and people who can actually sleep with nature. But it's a bit tricky because we do have a lot of creepy crawlies.
I
Let's
I
see.
don't think so they disturb that much. You know, Kirti, when I made that forest in backyard of my house, my room in my house is on the third floor. So it's such a beautiful sight to look into the canopy of the forest from your window. So actually it's not a bad idea at all to wake up to the canopy of the trees. Because when we walk in a forest, we usually see the canopy when we look up.
On
When
top.
that when it is at your eye level, you see
It's a different feeling. Yes, yes, true, true. We just that we'll have to enclose it to make it safe, you see. So,
yeah,
and there are nature lovers who will be quite happy to camp out for the evening or,
yeah.
stargaze at night or whatever. So we've left it for those
Put a
kind of
mosquito
people
net,
to come.
put a cart and a mosquito net, and just sleep there.
Look at the growth. This is the same spot 4 years later.
Wow,
That's when they were planted and mulched and they were like 2, 3 feet tall and they've
beautiful.
exploded. Himanshu, are you there? I wonder if he's there. He was so sweet and he quickly sketched this out for me today. I said, can you put down our green plan? And
Amazing.
let's see if we've nearly achieved all. I think we've achieved all, save the little bit in the front near the gate.
Yeah, so for Himanshu's introduction, I would love to share that Himanshu is a great designer, permaculture designer, and he also works with Afforest on many different projects. We have worked together for Kirti's project. We have done a project in Pakistan together. A few other projects we have taken as design help. And the concept of forestscaping initiated with one of Himanshu's design, which we keep sharing all the time. It's called Forest of Well-being. So last week when we were talking with Shehzad, we shared about Forest of Well-being and the forestscaping that we did in Lahore. So that project, this project, and many other projects, he runs a company called Ananas, and we'll post the link in our Facebook feed. So whoever wants to get in touch with Himanshu, please feel free to do that. All right, great. Thanks, Kirti. Let's go ahead.
That's how it looks from a drone.
Amazing.
That's some of the construction. And you see the Machan still towering. I think this was in 2016 or 2017, the drone image.
Kirti, tell me one thing. Let's go back to the same image,
Yeah,
the
sure.
previous image. Now, on your property,
Yeah,
the even the land which is vacant,
yeah.
you can see green grass on it. However, on the neighboring plot, we don't see any green grass or anything growing on it. Are
See,
you
I
want?
think that's because they're farmers, no? They're
Uh,
tilling the land. So they have crop.
and you don't tell it. You don't tell your land at all.
We are not tilling, we are not growing anything except a small vegetable patch, and I get my 20 tomatoes. More than that, we haven't started farming per se.
Super. Cool. Great.
So, I'd like our viewers and all our friends who've joined in to spot the chameleon on this one. Can you see the chameleon? This was so amazing. It was so big and it was so close to us. We were standing on the Machan and the trees were enclosing, so it was like a touching distance. It was this big chameleon, and in the next picture, you'll see it opening its mouth, so you'll be able to spot it clearly.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. No,
The
that's the beauty of
camouflage,
making a forest.
yes, it's beautiful.
The fauna comes back.
So other than our forest, what
Mm-hmm.
we've done is also a blueprint or a blue plan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I introduced myself to say our company is called Green Life Blueprints.
Okay.
So it is taking the green and the blue as well as saying that the blueprint of our life or a green blueprint to leave behind, etc., etc. So that's the blue plan which we are working with Himanshu on. Most of it, I would say about 90% is done. We've done recharge wells, we've done smaller ponds, we've done a lily pond, we've done a dog pond, we've got a duck pond. We still have to get the animals. But right now, the dogs are running around and enjoying all the ponds. They just jump in and take a swim whenever they want to.
How many dogs you have at
We
the
have 4 dogs.
property?
We had 5. We rescued them. My sister Aarti and her daughter rescued them. They are 5 years old. They are older on this land than us, so
Super.
they own it. That's another drone shot of the blue that you can see.
Wow.
That large swirly body is
Yeah.
holding about 40 lakh liters of
Wow.
water.
Kirti, how deep is this water body?
So most of it is between 4 and 6 feet, and at the extreme top end where you see it's wider, that is about 9 feet.
Super.
So
And
initially we thought we'll go to 9 feet, but as we were excavating, we hit rock.
okay.
We didn't want to blast it, and then we also realized that if it's such a big water body, then there's also danger of life. We'll have to have lifeguards whenever there's a group visiting. So
Yeah.
we can now cordon off the 9 foot area, whereas the 4 feet area is okay for people to sort of step
Yeah.
into.
And do people swim in it when they come?
No, we've not allowed anybody to swim yet,
Mm-hmm.
and it's we haven't yet done the cleaning process, and I would rather leave it for just fish and birds. We are going to have a swimming pool at the top end of it, which I'll come to in the next few slides.
Great.
Around the pond, you'll see some structures which are going to be our cottages, which will have the forest on one end and overlooking the pond on the other side. These cottages we hope will be ready for letting out in the next year.
Wow.
That's our staff quarters, and you can say our first guests have checked in.
Super. This I never saw langur in Secunderabad, Hyderabad, or even at your property when I was working there. Literally, like living there. This is such an achievement.
We've identified about 50 odd species of birds.
Wow.
Again, native and migratory. They
Wow.
come in, they make nests, they cackle away, they wake us up at 2 in the morning. Our dogs try and shoo them off when they come down on the ground, especially the hoopoo. The bird on the bottom left of the screen?
Yeah.
It's called a hoopoo.
Cuckoo bird.
And that tends to stay on the ground.
Yeah.
So it's actually very difficult to take a shot of this bird because every time it sits on the ground, the dogs chase it away. And on the bottom right, you'll see it's a white-shouldered kite, I think.
Bottom right. Okay.
Like a big bird, very big bird. This is at a distance on a wire.
Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah,
We have about 20 odd peacocks who've made the machan their home.
amazing.
They live there, they cackle away, and my son Arjun managed to get this shot of about, I think you can see 1, 2, 3, about 7 or 8 of them in this one shot. Early morning with a zoom because they fly away them every time we go near them. But we get a bunch of peacock feathers. So every now and then when we walk in the forest under the machan, we get like, I can have a bouquet of peacock feathers to give away to every visitor who comes in.
Amazing. Amazing.
We've seen lots of butterflies. I'm trying to identify every species as I spot them. We get some vegetable for ourselves.
Kirti, can we get back to the butterfly slide?
Yeah, sure.
Let's ask people who are watching on Facebook if they can identify these insects and butterflies. Maybe they can just type in the name. Comment. It will be amazing. So we have 3 butterflies, 1 snail, and 1 I call it red velvet worm. I don't know what
It's no. So we as kids used to call it a velvet buchi. It's
velvet.
called a dust mite. It's a red dust mite actually,
Oh,
and it only comes in at the time of petrichor, which is the first rains.
yeah,
As soon
yeah.
as the ground gets that first rain and you can smell it, that's when you'll see these little buchis coming out. And they're gorgeous. They're so gorgeous. When I first spotted a buchi, I was nearly crying. And I sent the picture to all my friends, and they must have all logged in and they'll remember this. They said, "Oh my God, we've not seen a velvet buchi for 40 years."
Yes, yes, yes. Every time people say, they have just seen that in their childhood, never after that. So it's such a beautiful, but such a bad name for such a beautiful insect, dust mite.
Uh, Dust mite is a ugly one, isn't it? Red
Yeah,
mite. But
change it.
velvet, let's call it velvet.
Cool. So anyone who can identify these butterflies, please post in the comments. All right, let's move to the
Some
next.
of them have been identified on butterfly groups on Facebook, but I don't have the names handy right now.
Hmm.
But if anybody can help, please do.
Yeah, great. Let's move to the next one.
Those are just some of our flowers. There are just so many to share. I didn't want to.
No, please, we have time. Let's let's.
No, but I have a Instagram post, so every time I see a new flower, I identify it and I post it on
What's
our
your
Instagram.
Instagram called, Kirti? We'll post it.
Arbor Estate.
Arbor Estate. Okay.
Arbor Estate.
Then Gaurav can
And
put.
on Facebook, Arbor Road Estate, and on our website. So all these flowers and butterflies I keep posting regularly.
Okay. Cool.
Those are just some of the fruits. We've got an abundance of custard apple, which is wild. We didn't grow it. We didn't plant it, but it multiplies. So we've got hundreds of custard apple that we get in September, October.
Uh-huh.
We do a little bit of vegetable farming. It is organic, so it tends to get
Kirti,
messed up.
what do you do with all these custard apple fruits?
We
The
distribute it.
okay. Is there
And
a
when
way?
I can't distribute it, I make pulp and keep the puree. My mother keeps the puree and eats it after 3 months also.
Amazing. And what is this red color berry that we see?
So that's a falsa.
Falsa. Wow.
Amazing fruit. Again, many of my friends had not eaten it for long, and this year we had a abundant harvest of falsa. I made packets full of falsa and sent it to all my friends I could. I've made juice out of it. I have now preserved it as a jam as well. It's a delicious berry. Falsa, it's called Gracia something. I'll have to check on
Remember,
my.
outside my sister's school, there used to be a lady who used to sit with one basket full of falsa and another with kamarak. And girls used to buy this, eat it with salt.
Yeah,
So I've eaten it with
delicious,
my sister as well.
crunchy fruit, sweet and sour.
Yeah.
And in the middle, you see the cashew.
Yes, we see a cashew.
We got a lot of that as well. This time I got, I think, about 200 cashews. And then
Amazing.
I figured out what to do. I didn't know.
Uh-huh.
You can see a yellow spot, which is the ripened fruit has fallen down.
Okay.
So it's green, it's hanging. When it ripens, it becomes yellow. And the yellow fruit is actually called a cashew apple.
Okay. And can you eat
So,
it? Is it
yeah,
edible?
you can eat it, but it's like ganna. It's like sugarcane. It's fibrous.
Okay.
So you have to chew on it, bring in the nectar and spit out the rest. So what I did is I churned it and I strained it. And it was a delicious drink. It's like unfermented feni, right?
Amazing, amazing.
Before the cashew feni, it's the fresh cashew juice.
Great.
Those are some butterflies again.
Okay, more butterflies for everyone who is watching, if you can
On the
identify.
top left, I think you see them mating.
Oh, yes, yes, there are two. Yes.
And then a little bit about the green buildings, if that's okay with you, Shubhendu.
Yes,
I
please.
want to share what we've done. I think the next is a small video coming up. So all the soil we excavated from the pond, we are using to make compressed stabilized earth blocks.
Wow.
They are made at site by our local farm hands who are now our permanent staff.
Who brought this machine, Kirti?
We brought this machine from a company called Gram Vidya in Bangalore.
Okay.
And they gave us the technique. They trained our boys.
Wow.
We're building all our buildings
So it was your team who made these bricks,
Let's,
not
yeah,
you. Not that
should
the
I stop this somewhere? Go back a bit. Our team has made them. Yes, we've crossed about 1.5 lakh blocks.
Wow,
So on a day, they had reached a peak of about 350 to 375 blocks.
amazing.
A team of 5 can make about 350. And we built a fair amount of square foot area. I think we've crossed
Mhm.
about 10,000 square feet built up space. It's all with these blocks.
This is so nice.
So this what you're seeing are pipes being laid on the floor.
Yeah.
It will allow for underfloor cooling.
Wow.
You're used to underfloor heating in your Uttarakhand, isn't it, Shubhendu? So here we are cooling it.
Amazing.
And sorry, I need to just, can I run that again? Okay.
Excavated soil use. Okay. Yeah, we can watch it again. It's okay. Just let it.
Yeah, I'm just going to get myself a glass of water. That's okay. Sunset. That's the plan of the cottages. That's going to be a dining space. That's a home now, Shubhendu,
Wow.
and it's waiting to welcome you. That's where we live.
Definitely.
This is
Yeah.
Dovecote. So what we've done is we've done up a quick small cottage and some cabins which
Wow.
youngsters and backpackers can use uh, right away during the lockdown as well, and going forward on a budget accommodation sort of basis.
This is so nice.
The lighthouse was a whim which I managed to fulfill. I'm going to make a library out of it.
Superb.
Those are the cottages which will come up with a pond and a swimming pool.
Superb.
And you'll see they look like this right now. That's the pond that's full. Those are the 3 cottages. And that's another view with a pool and the cottages.
Wow.
So that's what we are. And we hope to open to the public very soon.
That's amazing. So, at what stage? All right. So we have Afforest, Gram Vidya, Ananas. If you can just give a like one line introduction of all.
Brief on everybody. So Afforest is you and your wonderful team of green bees. Gram Vidya is the one that we learned the technique of mud block making from under Professor Yoganand, who's written a book and he's mentored everybody. Pramod and Sudhakar were helpful in making sure that the structure lasted. So all our buildings are done without pillars. So it's a pillarless construction. These are load-bearing blocks. Himanshu, we've already spoken about. He does all sorts of things for us. He does water management, he does landscaping, he's helping me with a butterfly garden. We've done a fruit orchard. We're now doing a food forest. Uh, Chang is a wonderful person who has built first the Machan, and then everything which is metal is built by Chang.
Superb.
And Dilip was our project manager who made sure that all these buildings came up as per the design blueprints. Anil Nagrat from Bombay is now our architect who's doing the cottages and the public space, the cafes. Udit Shah from Panasia has given us the green technology for the underfloor cooling.
Superb.
Our team, like I said, has been with us for the last 5 years and they will remain with us forever, I hope. And last but not least is my sister Aarti, my brother Shashank and Ranjan. Continue to give us creative ideas.
Superb. All right. So everyone, this is the Arbor Road Estate's website, arborestate.in, Instagram Arbor Estate, and Arbor Road Estate. with a dash on Facebook. So we have posted the Facebook link in the comments of this video. We're gonna post the website and Instagram as well. You can check them out. Please follow them, and maybe I'll stop the screen sharing. And so before, thank you so much, Kirti, for this wonderful presentation and taking us through the journey. And before we close, I'm gonna share another example from this great book, Pradeep Krishna.
Lovely, Jungle Trees.
Jungle Trees of Central India. So this is the
that cricket ball.
Yeah, this is that fruit, kabit. And
isn't this the same as cannonball?
It's called wood apple.
I came across this in Sri Lanka where they called it cannonball, and it was a really large ball.
No, it's not that big. It's exactly cricket ball size.
But I'm going to have to wait 10 years to see it.
I don't know, depending how quickly our trees fruit. And I'll actually read some comments as well, because people are actually loving your presentation.
So how do we read the comments, or is there any way we can see them later?
Yes, on Facebook. So people are saying looking forward to visit. It's been really informative. And then
cannonball is different. Okay.
We have love falsas from Vanita. What's the red fruit people were asking, which was falsa. Yes, I got a lucky pick with the red ones when I visited, says Kala. I see common crow and common fancy butterflies, Chinna Raj says. Aarti is commenting about various random things, Aarti. Thank you so much. So Vanita again says, great job. Himanshu is here. He's posted a big hi to both of us.
Himanshu, thanks so much for that green and blue plan. He zapped it in half an hour for me today.
Thank you so much, Himanshu.
It was in the mind. He just had to draw it out, I guess.
Plan was beautiful. And now that it's on the record of this video, many people will get benefited from it. Onkar
Cannonball is different, he says.
This is amazing. Okay, cannonball is something different. Okay. And in Marathi, it's called kavat. Okay.
Kavat. Oh, okay, right. Yeah. Okay.
You speak Marathi, right? So you would.
Yeah. I'm a Maharashtrian.
Yes, kavat. Okay, Zoeb says commendable effort. And then there are a few other comments about superb, waiting to visit again. And I'm pretty sure many more people come and visit. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Before we leave, I'm gonna, our next online training session is happening on 9th and 10th of June, where you can learn how to make your forest. So if you want to make another Arbor Road Estate like project, please do attend this training. We will teach you how to make your own forest and few other ideas that we have taken. We have copied from beautiful projects like Arbor Road Estate and few other projects. So that's the ad for our online training. Hopefully next week, we're gonna come back again with another forest story on Sunday, same time, 6 p.m. India time. We're gonna announce it in a day or two with whom we are going to share this story. And Kirti and Anand and Aarti and everybody involved in Arbor Road Estate project, thank you so much for all your efforts. And Kirti, thank you so much for all the time.
Thank you. Wonderful. It's a wonderful experience, and it was great reliving it all over again in the last 24 hours, putting together all these photographs for you. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care then. Bye.